Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And it is now October 2020. In the spirit of Halloween, if you don't mind, I'd like to share with you some thoughts that I have about a number of horror films that I particularly enjoy. Now, I know the horror genre is not for everybody, and so I'll try to share with you a variety, or at least from my point of view anyway, a variety of films from different aspects of this genre. But the first one that I wanted to share with you in the spirit of this particular month is one of my absolute favorites. This is from Japan, from 1960. The name of the filmmaker, first of all, is Nobuo Nakagawa. I'll say his name again, Nobuo Nakagawa. He is a filmmaker who is one of the greats of Japanese cinema. He made so many films, nearly 100, and a small portion of them actually fall in the horror genre. That being said, he is perhaps so well known among audiences in Japan and outside of Japan for some of his horror film output. In particular, this film, which I'm about to show. As I say, this is from 1960. This is a Criterion Collection DVD, which is, for your information, spine number 352. Nobuo Nakagawa's film, Jigoku. This is the Japanese film, Jigoku. This is a color film. It is in Japanese, and it is a spectacle of a film. This film, Jigoku, is a really over-the-top, vivid, bright-colored, zany, almost hyper-realized, melodramatic, Mephistophelian, wicked kind of tale that is one of the great ultimate examples of this sort of hyper-realized, super-saturated Japanese horror film. I use the term horror film, but I think other terms can be used to describe it, of course. It is a super-realized melodrama involving students and accidental death and how that affects romantic relationships that are revealed in the film. There are also family dynamics and the like. But this all lays the groundwork for the film's exploration of guilt, the film's exploration of divine retribution or justice meted out for bad deeds. And so therefore it presents what might be deemed to be an interesting scheme, if you will, of universally imposed retribution. And this notion of guilt, therefore, is an incredibly important one. What is more fascinating, what is another fascinating thing about this, too, is that this notion or exploration of the effects of guilt on the human soul are vividly portrayed and linked with depictions of sexual desire and eroticism that is sometimes very suggestive, but never in a distasteful way, I think. And so this, I think, leads more into the idea of desire and guilt and passions that really fuel the choices that we make. And so we have this very interesting mix of a tableau of a film that also has many mysteries, many unknown forces, characters that may or may not be what they seem, very much a Mephistophelian, Faustian type of feel to it. Then we have the namesake of the film, Jigoku. Now, just in case, the word Jigoku is a Japanese word which can be translated into English as hell. This film is also about hell. And in order to deal with hell, it shows hell, or a cinematically rendered version of hell. And my goodness, what a brilliantly rendered, wonderfully realized, overblown in its extravagance, these depictions of hell. They are truly out of this world. And the inventiveness and the shock factor and the real pop art nature of these sequences that are also infused with a almost shocking level of violence in some aspects make these sequences among the most memorable, I would say, of all of Japanese cinema from the 1960s. This is some of the greatest stuff you'll ever see, I think, from Japanese horror. And the kinds of details that are also shown give us, I think, a further examination of this notion of guilt, also set against the backdrop of certain aspects of Buddhism, as well as divine retribution, as well as folklore, as well as certain tales of Japan, and also this really vivid imagery that can be described as being beautiful and gross and wildly unbelievable and wholly inventive, poetic, and also quite shocking. All of that is here, my friends, in this film, Jigoku. Again, hell. This is a film that is about hell, and my goodness, what a cinematic treat this is. Once again, I must say the filmmaker's name, Nobuo Nakagawa. Please, please remember this name, Nobuo Nakagawa, who is the director of this film, Jigoku. And his input and his cinema and his contributions to Japanese cinema at large, I think, are unmistakably important, wholly relevant, and incredibly timeless, such that I think they are works that deserve a lot of recognition and attention and exposure. And I hope that for those of you who have not seen this film, Jigoku, again, from 1960, I hope you are interested in it and give it a chance, because if you like Japanese cinema and you like the wild, over-the-top inventiveness of Japanese cinema, especially from the 1960s, I think you will really get a kick out of Nobuo Nakagawa's masterpiece. This is the film Jigoku. And just in case if you're interested, this is the DVD from Criterion, as I mentioned. And as of now, the timing of this particular video that I'm making it, the Criterion Collection, to my knowledge, has not released it on Blu-ray. But if that's okay with you, I would still strongly suggest that you watch this here, or if it's available elsewhere, please do. As I say, anyone who's a fan of Japanese cinema, I think, will really get a kick out of this. And so, and Nobuo Nakagawa and Jigoku are just classics of not just the genre, but of Japanese cinema, period. So, as I say, anyone who's interested in a sort of art house horror, or anyone who's interested in Japanese cinema, or both, I think you're going to find a lot of what you're looking for in this film, Jigoku. So once again, what I have here is the Criterion DVD, but it's a really great one, and it also has a splendid documentary, about 40 minutes, which speaks to Nobuo Nakagawa, the type of filmmaker he was, who he was, and also the films that he is perhaps well known for, Ghost Story of Yotsuya, and also Jigoku. And in particular, it focuses on Jigoku, and so I think you will enjoy that documentary as well. It also features the contemporary, the current contemporary filmmaker Kiyoshi Kurosawa, who gives some very excellent points about Nakagawa's work, and in particular Jigoku. I think at one point Kurosawa calls it a very strange film in Japanese cinema. And I think that is high praise indeed, especially coming from a filmmaker like Kiyoshi Kurosawa. So anyway, my friends, this is the film Jigoku from 1960, directed by Nobuo Nakagawa. If you haven't seen it, my friends, please give it a chance, because it is a wildly inventive horror film from Japan. I hope you'll get a kick out of it. Okay, my friends, so that's it for now. And so until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great, great movies. Thank you once again for your time, my dear friends, and cheers.